right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Storm surveys reveal 8 tornado tracks from Saturday evening. The one additional track that was identified today.
Getting back in the saddle. Storms ripped the roof right off a horse stable in the Metro East. The call tonight for a barn raising. Our top story, a Good Samaritan shot.
Well, I thought I'd be nice and give him a ride.
He's like the nicest person I know. He's always doing nice things for people.
Tonight, an 86-year-old veteran is sharing his harrowing experience only to 5 on your side. Right now, St. Louis police are looking for the gunman from this morning's shooting. Good evening. I'm Mike Bush. Ann Allred has the night off. Our Robert Townsend talked with the victim as he walked out of the hospital just hours ago, and Robert joins us live outside police headquarters. Robert.
Mike, Floyd Stovall is now back home with his wife. That's after being shot by someone he just wanted to help.
For years, 86-year-old Floyd Stovall has enjoyed giving rides to strangers in his 1965 Mustang.
I pick up young people on that street where I live.
Shortly after 9 this morning, Stovall was on the move in his Mustang when he spotted a guy near Bower Road.
Got in and asked him where he wanted to go, and he said, well, it's up here ahead. He said he had to go to work.
Several miles later,
it became obvious that I was going to have some trouble. I need some money. And I said, well, I don't have much on me, and so, but I said, I'll give you a couple of dollars.
Stovall said when he pulled out his billfold to give the guy some money, the two struggled.
He's starting to get out, and I'm trying to hold on to my billfold, and he said, I'm going to shoot you.
The man shot the retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel once in his right hand, then ran off.
I don't remember being scared.
The fearless, bleeding veteran drove quickly to a nearby auto shop. The owner called 911 and wrapped Floyd's hand in a towel.
You feel lucky?
Very.
Stovall then drove himself a few miles to Mercy South Hospital.
I flew airplanes, so I was never shot at. It's the first time.
I'm really thankful
to still have his grandpa.
I was fearing the worst at first, so just hearing that he was alive and he's going to be okay, I'm really happy.
You're not going to do that anymore?
No.
Stovall now has bullet fragments in his hand as a result of getting shot. Right now, police only have a vague description of the shooter. That shooter stole less than $50 from Mr. Stovall. Live downtown, Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
A St. Louis man is in jail tonight charged in an apparent road rage shooting. Police say his own mother turned him in. The shooting happened Saturday night near the intersection of Michigan and Mott in South City. Investigators say Keelan Lake shot at the other car, hitting the driver in the back. That driver continues to be treated in an area hospital. We're following a developing situation on the Poplar Street Bridge. Right now, crews are on the scene of a semi-tractor trailer overturned on the eastbound ramp from Interstate 44. You can see in the video it's kind of resting on the guardrail. There's no word what led to this crash. We're told the driver, though, is okay. A chilly night at the ballpark tonight, but spring-like temperatures return tomorrow. Weather First Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell has more on that and some new information on this weekend's tornado outbreak. Scott?
Yeah, a couple of things going on here. And of course, weather has settled down. We had those gusty winds most of the day today. They're finally settling down across the St. Louis area tonight. But it's another chilly night as temperatures dropping now in some cases in the upper 40s in the outlying areas, still in the 50s in town. Florissant looking nice and quiet. Over at Busch Stadium, the winds died down this evening and they'll continue to get even lighter through the overnight hours. That means it's chilly early tomorrow, but it is warmer tomorrow afternoon and Wednesday, and then more storms on Thursday. Look at this time lapse from Saturday evening. Those storms sweeping over Forest Park, South St. Louis City, South County. Storm survey teams from the National Weather Service have been out the last couple of days. They've completed the surveys. 8 weak tornado tracks identified, all of them quick spin-ups rated EF0 and EF1 on the enhanced Fujita scale. with no deaths or injuries reported. The last storm that was added to that, the newest track, the one that started on the northwest side of Festus here, west of Interstate 55 near Old Highway A and went up towards Herculaneum. That produced about a 4-mile track with winds at times close to 100 miles per hour. That's not in the forecast for the next few days, but we will talk about our chances for storms on Thursday in just a few minutes, Mike.
All right, Scott. There was extensive damage from those severe storms this past weekend. The Highland Saddle Club's barn in Highland, Illinois has been ripped to shreds, and the debris even killed one of their horses. New tonight, our Laura Barczewski walks us through the destruction as they pick up the pieces.
28 years.
This is my whole life.
Kevin Gleason and his staff have dedicated their time and their hearts to Highland Saddle Club.
I've been doing this forever.
It was nearly taken away in a matter of minutes by a storm so strong it lifted thousands of pounds of metal like it was nothing.
We grabbed the dogs, head downstairs, and by the time we got down the steps, we turned our phones on and we could literally hear the tornado at that point in time.
After the storm passed, he ran upstairs and out to the stables.
We've seen the devastating damage and the horse that was hurt.
35 horses busted out of their fences and stalls. Unfortunately, the injured horse was hit by flying debris and didn't make it.
It's traumatic, even though the horse doesn't belong to me, but it was in the custody and care of this facility.
Gleason called on his farm family to help. Riding instructor Michelle Jones rushed right over to the barn.
I could see the barn from the road, and there were lights shining through the roof, and I knew it was bad at that time.
The storm peeled off the roof of the stall area here, ripped it open like somebody had opened up a can and pushed it over here into the neighbor's field. That's roughly 100 yards away.
The roof to the arena, all of our fences were damaged. Our hay has gotten wet. Just the barn just is decimated. It's terrible.
Jones says the Highland Saddle Club has given so much love to the community.
I have over 135 families riding here right now. Plus we do pony camps and unicorn parties in the summer.
And now they're going to need some of that love to make its way back.
Prayers and some help if we can get it. That'd be the best.
Reporting in Highland, Laura Barczewski, 5 on your side.
Even though the Saddle Club has insurance, they say it won't cover everything. The materials alone are going to cost about $100,000, and they need financial help. And we have a link to their GoFundMe on KSDK.com. Tonight, most of the power is back on in the town of Hecker, Illinois. The community in Monroe County was hit with an EF1 tornado Saturday night. It caused damage to homes and buildings. Thankfully, no injuries were reported. Saturday's severe weather also left behind damage around parts of St. Louis County. An EF1 tornado hit Valley Park, Fenton, and Sunset Hills. There was also some damage in Baldwin. Strong winds blew out a window at the Baldwin Point Rec Center. City leaders tell us they have to drain the pool to get out all of the broken glass. Developing tonight, after community outcry, an 84-year-old Kansas City area man is now charged in the shooting of a teenager. Clay County prosecutors charged Andrew Lester with 2 felony counts in the shooting of Ralph Yarl. The 16-year-old was shot in the head Thursday night. Investigators say he rang the wrong doorbell when going to pick up his younger brother from a friend's home. Lester claims he was scared by the teen's size.
As the prosecutor of Clay County, I can tell you there was a racial component to the case. We understand how frustrating this has been, but I can assure you that the criminal justice system is working and will continue to work.
Tonight, the teen is recovering at home. A GoFundMe page has surpassed $1.5 million to help with medical expenses and pay for college. We're just hours away from a high-stakes court hearing which will determine the fate of Kim Gardner's career. Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey wants the embattled St. Louis Circuit Attorney removed from office. Tonight, a St. Louis judge is threatening to throw Gardner in jail for contempt of court. This after 2 murder trials were supposed to start this morning, and they were delayed because attorneys did not show up on time. Right now, there are just 3 prosecutors under Kim Gardner trying to juggle nearly 500 serious felony cases. One defense attorney is now asking for his client to be released on bond.
This is very unfortunate, first and foremost for Deontez, who is presumed to be innocent. It's unfortunate for the victims of this crime, who are entitled to be present, to be kept informed. It's an unfortunate situation for the citizens of St. Louis who expect for this system to work, and it's failing everyone, and something needs to be done.
We reached out to Gardner's office about these two cases, have not heard back. 5 on Your Side did obtain an internal memo Gardner sent to her staff today addressing recent resignations. You can read it now at KSDK.com. During tomorrow's hearing, we expect the court could rule on a number of motions, including Gardner's request to throw it out and Bailey's request to remove her from office as the case proceeds. Cameras are being allowed in the courtroom, and 5 on Your Side will bring you live coverage. The hearing is set to begin at 1:30 tomorrow afternoon. We will stream it live at KSDK.com, on YouTube, and on the 5+ app. The app is free on your Roku or Fire TV. Tomorrow begins a new era at St. Louis City Hall. A new and smaller board of aldermen will be sworn into office. After 109 years, the number of aldermen have been cut in half from 28 to 14. Tonight begins Yom HaShoah, or Holocaust Remembrance Day, a day when we all come together to honor the victims of the Holocaust and to reflect on the lessons learned from this abomination. A visit to the St. Louis Kaplan Feldman Holocaust Museum tells the story of this systematic genocide of Jews and other minorities by Nazis in World War II. As some recent surveys show, the lessons of the Holocaust are still relevant today.
It was clearly shown that the more that people know about the Holocaust, the more prone they are to recognize anti-Semitism and extremism, and to recognize it as a societal problem and something that we need to solve collectively.
Nancy Lisker goes on to say, we must remain vigilant against the forces of hate, bigotry, and intolerance to make sure that when we say the Holocaust, we also say never again.
I feel like it was divine intervention.
She was just steps away from the finish line of the Boston Marathon 10 years ago. Tonight, a St. Louis runner recounts the feeling she had just seconds before the bomb went off. Buy or lease. Car prices are up, so are interest rates. Tonight, we're breaking down your best option to get you in the driver's seat.
And once you're in the driver's seat, you'll need the sunglasses the next couple of days when the storm chances return. And another big change for the weekend ahead.
Starting line here in Boston.
More than 30,000 runners hit the streets for the 127th running of the Boston Marathon. This year marked the 10th anniversary of the Boston Marathon bombing, where 3 people died and hundreds were injured in the terror attack. A St. Louis County woman was just steps from the finish when the bomb exploded. Lisa Bergiola walked away unscathed. She believes someone was looking out for her that day.
It seemed like the finish line narrowed, but I know it didn't because I was there the day before. And at that split second, I went to the right. And when I went to the right, I heard the explosion. I feel like it was divine intervention. I mean, something nudged me to go that way, and I did.
Lisa still runs marathons, but hasn't run the Boston Marathon since. She says she hopes to one day qualify again in honor of the lives lost. In the market for a new car, the choice between buying and leasing can be a tough call, especially with persistent supply chain issues and rising interest rates. Tonight, Consumer Reports breaks down what could be the best option for you.
Oscar Pagan says buying a car this past January was a no-brainer.
The option to own is always better, in my opinion, than to lease, because at least you have an asset, and if anything ever happens, you can sell that asset.
But deciding whether to buy or lease your next car can be a tough decision. And with today's higher car prices, the average price paid for a new car is nearly $50,000, and higher interest rates above 6%, you're likely looking at a bigger monthly payment no matter which you choose. Consumer Reports says on the surface, leasing can be more appealing than buying.
First, it's always under warranty. Second, you're always driving a car with the latest safety features. And third, if you're working part-time in the office and part-time at home, you're not driving as much. So that means you probably won't exceed the lease's limits on how many miles you can drive.
Monthly payments are usually lower with a lease because you're not paying for the full value of the car. That means you may be able to drive a more expensive vehicle than you'd normally be able to afford. While that might sound appealing, there's one hard fact about leasing. At the end of the term, you'll have to return the car because you don't own it.
A major downside of leasing is that you have an endless cycle of paying for a car. You're never without a car payment because as soon as the one lease is up, you have to either buy a car or get into another lease.
It's difficult to make a fair head-to-head comparison, but in general, 2 back-to-back 3-year leases will always cost more compared with buying and owning a car over that same period, because the buyer owns the asset, the vehicle, after that period. If you do choose to buy your next car, CR says there are some easy ways to save. Don't rely on the dealer for the best loan rate. Instead, check if your bank or loan credit unions offer lower rates. And if your heart isn't set on a specific make and model, shop around for financing incentives that might be offered by manufacturers.
Even if you choose to lease, you should still negotiate the price of the car and the terms of the deal. Well, tonight, officials in Herculaneum assessing the storm damage to Cade's playground. They say it was heavily damaged by Saturday's storms. The playground was created after a family wanted accessibility for their young son, Cade. I featured the local organization Unlimited Play in several of my Making a Difference reports. They've constructed universally accessible playgrounds all over North America.
At least in my time here as city administrator, which is going on 15 years, is probably the best thing we have done in this city.
The city administrator of Herculaneum says they'll need donations to keep what they call this, quote, labor of love, close quote, alive. If you would like to help, look for this story at ksdk.com. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell rejoins us now with the Weather First forecast. Sunny and windy today, but I know there are some storms in our future, Scott, right?
There are, but it doesn't look like we're going to see a repeat performance. You know, the last 3 weeks have really been pretty active weather-wise around here. This last situation on Saturday afternoon seemed to be the one that's given us the most widespread damage, but everything's calmed down now, and we don't see a repeat. The ingredients don't look as impressive as the last 3 go-rounds with severe weather come Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening. But we'll still monitor it. Temperatures are in the 40s outside of town in many cases. Where there's still a little more of a breeze, you tend to keep those temperatures in the 50s. Lambert right now, the wind has settled down considerably from where we were. Look how dry the air is. Dew point's 33, the relative humidity at 45%. Winds very light, 3 miles per hour out of the west. 54 right now. 67 was our high this afternoon. We're starting out in the upper 30s to lower 40s tomorrow morning. The winds are fairly light overnight. They've really settled down, so you won't have nearly the wind tomorrow. You'll see plenty of sunshine, too. Not a whole lot looking back to the west, at least initially. We're transitioning into a warmer pattern for the next couple of days, and then that unsettled weather that's out to the west, just like the last few storm systems, will be making its way towards us as we head towards Thursday. Now, you've got a great day on Tuesday. There is no doubt about it. Temperatures are back well into the 60s by lunchtime. We're in the mid-70s tomorrow afternoon for highs. Wednesday, even warmer. A little more of a breeze. Temperatures going back into the lower 80s. But here comes this next system. So as we go into Thursday morning, most of it is still well west and north of us. During the day on Thursday, moisture increases. There'll be a bit more of a breeze. The question, of course, will we have the ingredients for severe weather? We're sure some of the ingredients are lining up there, but it doesn't look like we have all of them together for that recipe. It looks like they may be found a little greater concentration farther to our south, especially down into Arkansas. By Friday morning, the front's through. Temperatures start cooling off. We'll still have a few scattered showers Friday, but over the weekend, it gets even colder, and we may not be done with frost yet. In fact, some of us may slip just below freezing by early Sunday morning. So, you know, we always say, wait till tax day before you plant anything sensitive and then assess. Okay, so we're going to wait for another week after tax day, which, you know, that's tomorrow. So we're going to hang on, get through this weekend, and then as we head towards the beginning of next week, we'll assess to see how things look for the next week or so. You know, to be really safe in St. Louis, you got to wait till Mother's Day. But We might be able to, after next Sunday, do some planting, but only in the 50s next Sunday for highs. Saturday and Sunday, again, that breeze around on Saturday and even into Friday. It's going to be chilly. Enjoy tomorrow, Mike.
Okay, I'll try. Thanks, Scott. Frank is here with sports.
Really wish I had some good news about the Cardinals. I don't. I do have something positive to say about a pitcher in the system, and a 101-year-old former coach was honored tonight in St. Louis. Stick around, please.
The Sports Desk is sponsored by Jim Butler Chevrolet, the Midwest's #1 Chevy dealer 10 years running.
When you looked at this homestand against the Pirates and Diamondbacks, you had to be thinking 4 or 5 wins. You had to be. Well, think again. The Cardinals split with the Pirates, and tonight the Diamondbacks came to town and went to town. 1-0 Arizona in the 6th inning. Wilson Contreras, who's starting to hit, will crank his second double of the game. It will score Brendan Donovan. We are tied at 1. Diamondbacks right back. Ketel Marte takes Jack Flaherty deep for a 2-1 lead. Flaherty did pitch relatively well tonight. And then they take him out, and Pavin Smith will hit a grand slam off Andre Palante. That was basically a game, set, match. Alec Burleson, who appeared on 5 on Your Side at 6, drilled a 2-run homer, not enough. Arizona wins 6-3. Cardinals 0-6 in series openers. Flaherty did not want to come out.
Yeah, I mean, there's never a point where you ever want to come out of the game. If you do, you probably shouldn't be playing this game.
Guys on base, highest percent of getting the ground ball there is Palante. He's done a really nice job of doing that. Otherwise, yeah, Jack could keep going.
So I think Flaherty will be just fine, but if a few of the other starters don't pick it up, we may be seeing this man soon. Matthew Liberatore, throwing 97 in Memphis, now 3-0, 1-0 whip, 24 Ks, 17 innings, and batters are hitting 175 against him. Katie Woo from The Athletic is now on the 5 on Your Side team, and she gave us this take on Matthew.
Where it gets a little dicey is it's very rare to have 3 left-handed pitchers in a starting rotation in any rotation in baseball. Libby is left-handed, so we are going to wait and see. Certainly exciting to see that progression in AAA, though, and know that there is an option there if something happens to the 5 currently up in St. Louis.
The offseason has begun for the St. Louis Blues about 6 weeks sooner than most of us thought it would begin. So many issues to be addressed. One of the fascinating things about the Blues this year was Jordan Kyrou. His talent undeniable, but he had a bizarre stat. 37 goals and a -38. If you're not familiar with that stat, it means the Blues were down 38-0 for the season when he was on the ice. Sometimes, though, the stat can be misleading. Coach, what do you think about the kid's future?
All you got to do is just put the work in, and he wants to do that. And it's a mindset again. I keep going back to that, and he's never had to really do that, but he has to do it now. This is the NHL. It's not junior, and I believe he will take them steps. He's a good kid. He wants to learn. He wants to be better, and he will.
Let's head to the Victoria House in Bridgeton for quite a celebration. About 40 members of the Vashon community came to say goodbye to George Cross. He's leaving St. Louis to go to Chicago to be with his family. Cross is 101 years old. In 1962, he became the first African-American high school head coach to take a team to the Final Four. He led Hadley Tech, which later became Vashon there. He taught this message to his players.
The most important thing in life is to follow the rules, whatever they are, no matter what it is, but don't do anything that's going to hurt somebody else.
Great answer. And finally, what's it like to be 101 years old and still healthy?
That is unbelievable.
He coached some great players who became great coaches, like Floyd Irons, like Jim Gant. And one time, Coach Cross told me that the one thing I didn't do was yell at my players and humiliate them. And I thought that was a great coaching angle. It's a great coaching technique. Too many guys are yelling, and this guy was a gentle man who won big.
What a legacy.
Yep.
Frank, thanks very much. Well, 420 Day is Thursday, how you can celebrate legally in Missouri for the first time. The clock is ticking for procrastinators. You now have less than 26 hours to file your 2023 tax return. You can file an extension, but if you owe, you still have to pay tomorrow. For more information on deductions and tax credits, all you have to do is text the word taxes to 314-425-5355. Thursday is April 20th. That's also the first 420 day since recreational marijuana became legal in Missouri. Several businesses are celebrating. Steve's Hot Dogs and Proper Cannabis are offering THC-infused mac and cheese and CBD seltzers. For more information on other 420-day offerings and celebrations, just go to the As Seen on TV section at KSDK.com. And there you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next. Chris Evans and Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber are Jimmy's guests. Start your day with Today in St. Louis beginning at 4 a.m. and have a great tomorrow.